Hi everybody, my name is Ray, and we're here with the Greater Cleveland Aquarium getting ready for Fin Fest. We're excited to learn about prehistoric sharks. Where are we right now, Caitlin?
Well, Ray, you are at the Cleveland Museum of Natural History in the Vertebrate Paleontology department, and we're going to talk about some of the sharks that lived in Cleveland 360 million years ago.
Wow. That's impressive. I didn't realize there were sharks here that long ago.
I know, and they weren't in Lake Erie. There was actually an ocean here at the time, and there were sharks all over the place. And there was this giant creature right next to us. This is Dunkleosteus.
That's quite a set of jaws on that guy. Is this a shark?
No, Dunkleosteus is not a shark. Dunkleosteus is an arthrodire, or an armored jawed fish that are now extinct. They went extinct at the end of the Devonian period, like 360 million years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. And your turtle looks a bit scared of Dunkleosteus.
That's definitely a bigger thing than he's probably ever looked at before from our collection. So we're talking about this not being a shark, but he clearly was a predator, right? He's got some pretty gnarly teeth there.
Yeah, it was a predator. It was probably like one of the biggest predators at the time, and it was actually probably going around eating sharks. And there is a little bit of controversy about whether or not these are actually teeth. They may actually just be bone that it essentially sharpened that acted like teeth.
Oh, very interesting. So that actually changes up differently than our sharks, who have teeth that are not bone. That's pretty much the converse.
Yeah, and we have some sharks that also have teeth, and we're going to show you some right now.
Awesome, let's go look around.
So one of the most common sharks that we find from the Devonian period here in Cleveland is Cladosolachy. And this is the jaw of Cladosolachy, and you can actually see all of the teeth here, and you can see the replacement teeth as well. So you can see the actual rows of the teeth preserved in the fossil.
All right, yeah, so that lines up with our modern sharks, our sand tigers, which are these bigger teeth that I brought with us. That's our largest species of shark we have on site, and you can see an entire row of teeth that came out of one of them. They're always losing teeth, and they're always producing new ones from behind. So yeah, that's really cool. We can actually see that in the fossil record.
Yeah. How big is this shark?
Our sand tigers, they'll get about 8 foot to 10 foot long.
Oh, wow, so a lot
record
bigger.
sizes are going to be like 12 foot or so.
Wow, I think Cladosolachy was only like around that big, so their teeth are not that much smaller, but they are definitely smaller.
That's a little bit more on par with the size of our smallest species of shark we have at the aquarium. It's our brown-banded bamboo shark, and he's only about that long.
Okay, so that sounds a little bit more like Cladosolachy.
Now, were these guys bottom dwelling or more ocean swimming? Do we know?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if anybody does know, but they were definitely little predators that were swimming around in the ocean at the time, although they were probably getting eaten by Dunkleosteus more than they were chewing on Dunkleosteus.
Sure, that size difference between the two, I could see that.
And we do find evidence of sharks that have been chewed on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you've got another tooth over here. What is that one from?
So this is from Tenacanthus, which is another shark that we find from the Devonian period in the Cleveland Shale. And it is a little bit bigger than Cladosolachy, and we don't find it nearly as often as Cladosolachy, but we do find a lot of the teeth.
Okay. So it caught my eye. That teeth is actually very similar to our sand tiger teeth in the fact that it's tricusped, meaning it has three points to it. With modern sharks, that's one of the ways we identify them. I'm guessing the same for you guys, and the fossil record is using the different shape mechanisms for identification. So that's kind of neat that they have a very similar structure.
That's interesting. Any idea why that is a thing?
With our sand tigers, it's based on their feeding behavior.
Okay.
So these guys, all these long, sharp, spiky teeth, they're good for grabbing and basically spearing their food, and then they kind of gulp it down whole versus slicing it up with more slimmer teeth, like I would imagine our megalodon would have, yeah?
Yeah, probably. I know that when we look at Cladosolachy and Tenacanthus, we do find whole prey in their stomachs preserved sometimes too. So I think it's similar where they would swallow them whole and they wouldn't chew on them. But I have a feeling megalodon was pretty chompy with these teeth.
I think so. Again, that similarity, we've got some sandbar teeth here. And it's a very similar, much smaller, but similar structure to it, with very slight serrations along the edges, much more steak knife-like, where it's going to slice through its food and take bites and chunks.
Interesting. How big were those guys?
These sandbars, our current batch we have, they're around 6 foot or so, but they'll max around 8 foot.
Okay.
And they're your more stereotypic gray, sleek, jet fighter-y sharks, you know.
Cool. So this is a specimen of Cladosolachy, and these specimens are so extremely well preserved. So we find soft tissues preserved, we can see the fins, we can see the whole soft body outline, and these are preserved in concretions. So unlike the big fish that we were talking about, which are found in shales, these are normally found in big rocks, essentially, in the shale, and you break it open and there's a shark inside. And what's interesting about them too is that they're always preserved, not always, but the majority of the time they're preserved ventral side or tummy side up. So we actually don't get to see the dorsal fin or the dorsal spine, because we know that these also had dorsal spines, although we do find them separately. So yeah, so this is Cladosolachy. I was going to point out some of the cool features on this specimen. So here we have the sclerotic ring, which is the bony eye. And you're saying that that's not a thing?
That is not something that's transitioned, to my knowledge, into modern sharks. But my experience with sharks and the ones I've worked with, that's not a structure that we find in the modern animals, no.
Interesting. So we see that in Dunkleosteus. Dunkleosteus also has that eye.
See it on the thing,
and then we also see it in birds and reptiles a lot. But it's really interesting that you don't see it in modern sharks. And so number 5 here is showing the Meckel's cartilage, or the gill arches.
Okay.
Which were preserved, which is really rare for the fossil record. And then we have the fins.
And so that matches up, your fins here match up to modern sharks and modern fish, where we've got 2 paired ones, a pectoral and a pelvic. So think shoulders and hips on humans. And then you've also got the singular ones of the anal fin, the caudal fin, which is the tail fin, and then your dorsal fin would be upside down in the table right now. So that's really cool that that structuring and general body form and shape is still prevalent.
Yeah. That is super cool. Yeah, it's a shame that we can't see the dorsal fin, but we can see here, marked by this number 7 here, is actually stomach contents. So you can see all the little sparkly bits. Those are actually fish scales. So this was basically the shark's last meal before it died.
Okay, yeah, I can see those. You move a little bit and you can see it reflected in the light in the room.
Yeah. And so this is Cladosolachy. This is a model of Cladosolachy, so you can see about the size. And one of my favorite things about this model is that its teeth were actually based on one of our specimens. So these are actually modeled after real
correctly
Cladosolachy
modeled
teeth. Yeah.
Very nice. Now, with the soft tissue preservation you're saying here, I've always learned, cartilaginous fish and whatnot, we don't get a lot of that occurring typically. That's why your megalodons, it's just teeth. We don't actually have any bits and pieces otherwise. Is that very unique to the Northeast Ohio area?
Yeah, so this type of preservation is really unique, especially just generally in the fossil record. It's very unique. So we call it a Lagerstatt, which is where you find exceptional preservation. So you find things like soft tissues, stomach contents, hair, feathers, things like that preserved as a fossil. And so this is one of only 2 Devonian aged Lagerstatt in all of North America.
Wow, super rare then. That's awesome.
Really, really rare.
And you guys have examples of these up on the main floor to have guests come and look at as well?
Yeah, we have our sharks up on the main floor, a bunch of shark spines, so you can see what those look like, the dorsal spines, and then we also have Dunkleosteus, of course, and a lot of other arthrodire jaws, too.
That's really cool. So, guys, make sure you come out here to Cleveland Museum of Natural History, learn about where the sharks came from, learn about these prehistoric guys, and then come see us for FinFest and see the real deal, the live ones in our aquariums.